You seen Arthur today?
Nah, last time I saw him was...
You don't look like a smuggler nor a dandy. Catherine send you back here? On second thought, it's best if I don't know. What's your order? No, I don't have any... Ugh. If it's only a drink you're after, the full bar's upstairs. This here's the ante up, where you place your bets. Tossball, autoloader races, card games, you name it. I ain't picky. And neither is Catherine. We'll both break your legs if you lose, then shirk on paying.
Uh-huh. You blind, fella? Or can you not see I'm busy? Why is it every sissy pig fucker who strolls into my town expects me to smile and shout awful friendly? Welcome to Fallbrook. Only nugget of paradise in this entire law-forsaken land. Like a void damn advert.
Crude but forthright. I admire that.
Truthfully spoken, I do aim to properly represent my aforementioned nugget of paradise. You know, I ain't heard that one before. Suppose I'll have to work harder to show you just what makes our town shine. But first, I'll need to know what brings you, stranger. Well, I'm half listening. If it's one that don't mind getting dirty, then I sure do. But how am I to know whether you're reliable, if not fully trustworthy? That you won't ever do. But I like your style, so I'm willing to take a risk. We'll consider it a trial run. There's a Borst factory on up the way, run by a man who calls himself the King. Clive Lundberg, insufferable prick. That aside, it's a business ripe for the plucking. I want it. Clear as that. Stars, I hope so. Clive Lundberg, the self-proclaimed Borst King of Monarch, is swimming in profit and drowning in his ego. He's making the only meal to be had this side of Monarch, and I'm tired of ponying up for my dinner. I want that Borst factory, owner dead or alive. And you're the soon-to-be handsomely paid son of a bitch who's gonna get it for me. Kill him, run him out. I don't rightly care for the details, so long as Clive knows resistance to me is costly and futile. Hit him where it hurts. In his gut, or his production lines ought to make do. If you got brass knockers, you could shoot your way through the front gate. If you don't fancy getting shot to shit, you can try asking Duncan for a disguise. Might be another way in, assuming you're courageous enough to trek the sewers. Void if I know. Then I'd say you might care to poison the cysty pigs, doctor a few financial records, or throw a wrench in the canning machinery. It'll be more than good when you're finished. Maybe not for Clive, but for me and you, I'm sure. Oh, and if you don't fancy going in guns blazing or crawling through a sewer pipe, see Duncan in the dry goods and sundry building. He ought to have an employee ID in that stash of illicit goods he keeps for select clientele. May luck be with you, since I won't be.
Folks I never met before are my most favorite kind. So, what's your story? Let me just stop you right there, stranger. My question, it's not one I really want an answer to. Not unless it accompanies some extra bits. Understand? More than you can afford at this time. Your eyes do not deceive you. This bar serves the sweetest firewater in all of Fallbrook. I got some snacks on offer too from time to time. If you're asking if it's Sublight owned, then yes. If you're asking if we give discounts to Sublight employees, then the answer is not only no, but doubly no. Ms. Malin built the bar, the saloon, and the town to boot. If you got business with Sublight, I suggest you follow up with her.
I don't think I like Miss Catherine. Not just on account of the swearing, though she swears awful much.
Efficient, clever, ruthless.
You'd think
I like her.
Kissing in the alleyway's as bad as it stinks.
Oh, they are.
So that puddle I stepped in? That wasn't...
Can I help you? Don't think we've spoken before. I would remember. You look, well, I wouldn't forget what you're wearing, no. Most of the freshies spend their first night in the saloon. Fresh to Fallbrook, I mean. Me? I've been here going on 3 days now. I'm real friendly. Figure I've talked up everyone in town by now. But not you yet. Every day I've been here has been my lucky day. Never won so much in my whole life. Aside from a close call during my wilderness hike, it's been a grand adventure. I'm dreadful blessed that Captain Criley hired me onto the crew. You wouldn't have heard of them. They're just a small pot of smugglers. Kept getting their spoils stolen when they went to fence them. So they hired on a merc. They didn't mind my being so talkative, or them being my first protection gig. Captain Criley, he does ask me to shut it sometimes. In fact, I probably shouldn't be flapping my gums about his crew at all. Look for the horns and you can't miss it. Even I saw them when we flew overhead. Massive curved stone peaks, if you want to get technical. They're a part of the mountain terrain. Well, Captain Criley wanted to take a pit stop. I'm the hired security, see? They pay me to guard the cargo, but right now the hull's empty. It's my first shore leave with the crew, and my maiden voyage before that. I can tell you it's been a real hoot. Captain warned us to take care around Devil's Peak. The bigger beasties tend to roam the slopes there. Mid-morning, I thought I'd try Fallbrook's self-guided wilderness hike, the one that leads up around the mountain. Safe enough, else they wouldn't advertise, right? Wrong. Scarcely made it back in one piece. You can say that again. Wilderness almost got me pushing up daisies. If I wasn't so fleet-footed, I never would have escaped them raptidons, then marauders, and that manta queen alive. To outrun him, I had to ditch my bag. All the bit cards from my winnings were weighing it down. A shame, cause it was my favorite gun tote. Right then, very well. Then I'd like to answer it. If I can, that is. Right then, very well.
Remind me never to get on Ms. Malin's bad side.
You know how there's folk who are all crusty outside, but warm and squishy inside? I'm pretty sure
I don't serve your kind. Usually. What's your order?
Hey, Cass. Knock, knock.
Go away, White.
No, but thank you. I'm quite all right as I am. Oh, you're still here. I said I don't require anything at this time. Run along now. I've had more than enough to satisfy my thirst for one evening. Deal? A rather bad one indeed. The fella swore Fallbrook was unrivaled in its leisurely pursuits. But it seems to me the whole town is designed primarily to leech one's bits. And now that I've run dry, or nearly so, the fellas have abandoned me back to Byzantium. You wouldn't leave a friend in need, I'm sure. Don't suppose I could just ask you to scram.
Wrapped musk and canid eyes, right here.
Laws. Can a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace? What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place. And how should they know what they're missing? I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals, before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted. Days of consumption and culture, when we weren't squabbling with the iconoclasts for lack of better things to do. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all. Nope. But a man can dream.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn wrapped out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you? Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you? Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger? Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set. Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
Step lively, Ms. Holcomb.
I'm not winded. Honest. My, boot was untied.
Would hate for you to get left behind, or architect forbid, become lost.
New face, huh? You from off-world? A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Consider it an MSI welcome. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell and revel with us?
By the smell, he's been reveling enough for you both already.
Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. We're untethered, free of responsibility and worldly cares. Well, as long as we don't run out of bits. But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. Had enough, we did. So now we're striking. It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. And the wages we do earn don't cover as much as they used to. Our supervisor, Velma, goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refuses to negotiate, so we're refusing to work. We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarch. We're free from the board, you know? We have the right to lobby for better hours and pay. I wouldn't doubt it. You look like the type who tends to come out on top. Not like us cogs, trying to be the squeaky wheel but just getting deadlocked. It's been days, but Velma won't even hear us out. Maybe you could just make her listen to our demands. You would do that? We sure are lucky you decided to come up to the patio today. I knew drinking up here would be good for more than the view. Sure thing. What did you want to discuss? If I knew that, I'd have tried it. Talking reasonably got me nowhere. Maybe you'll fare better. The others wanted to blackmail her, but we're above that. Besides, them are just rumors. We got no proof they're true. I would never endorse such an untoward tactic, you know, but, well, there's rumors that Velma's taking a cut off the profits. So far, it's just gossip, you know, but if there was any proof to be had, it'd be in the Saltuna warehouse, I reckon. What do you think you're doing? I don't have time for this.
Were you really in jail, Mr. Max? And you were our vicar?
Yes, but as I've repeatedly said, I was assigned there as a vicar. I was not a prisoner.
I just can't believe you'd lie.
I was not lying. It had no bearing on my ability to minister to my flock, and was therefore not worth mentioning.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Well, new business turns up at last.
Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you?
Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself? What a charming notion. One doesn't meet many free spirits in Halcyon. Not outside Tartarus prison, anyway. Forgive me, I'd be positively enraptured. Only, I take it this means you aren't here for Saltuna. Yes, that's it. Channel your anger. I only wish I could do the same.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
You talk like Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? It makes a rather pretty slogan. But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect yourself from a hostile galaxy, it starts to lose its shine.
Exactly. Intellectualism fuels the train to mankind's future, but the tracks the train runs on are forged from practicality.
Mr. Vicar, I don't want to be rude, but I don't think that means anything.
Yes, it's as though the good vicar has plucked the very words from my brain.
Well, Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
But will that help the people here, Mr. Sanjar? Keep them fed and safe?
That's precisely what I'm trying to do.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended.
And a Mantisaur problem, and a Marauder problem.
Many, many problems, but they can all be solved with a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance. In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in, these days it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people to marauders and raptidons out there. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial H Mammoths. Aren't they just? When I get to worrying about the marauders outside, the raptidons chewing at the walls, I just turn my transceiver up to drown it all out. Most of the time it's static on account of the frequency being clogged up, but sometimes it's tossball. So, what can I do for you? Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow, even if he did have terrible teeth. They were pretty distinct. Monarch doesn't exactly have a thriving dental industry, and Isaac seemed to get stuck in all sorts of bad habits, dietary and otherwise. Sometimes he'd drink purpleberry punch by the liter. Other times, he'd keep betting on a losing team. Started owing the wrong people money. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with one of them. Good. Someone's gotta. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies, but there's not much he can do.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
No, I mean, more than usual.
Wouldn't know. I made it a point to stay out of her way.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry. Did she now? Well, I can see I was mistaken. Because if Catherine really had sent you, there'd be a lot more expletives in your message. I hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. Tell him to complain to Catherine in Fallbrook, not me. Sublight's demanding more money for the same contracts, which means we're all in the same boat. I don't have the bits for it, plain and simple. Besides, if I make an exception for him, I gotta do the same for everyone.
She's principled, in at least this area. I will begrudgingly give her that.
Thank you. I think. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire sublight contractors at this rate. Same thing as me. Where's your proof? Because I know no one's been poking around my terminal lately.
Are you absolutely sure of that, Ms. Ballard?
Just as a hypothetical. Nothing to see on my terminal, of course. Because I've done nothing wrong. Maybe so. But I bet you Caleb runs out of bits first. then he'll have to come back. He says he's got a stash to tide his crew over. Could be he's all talk, but if the money's real, I bet you he keeps it at home, near the diner.
You'd steal from your own people? That's low, ma'am.
That's business. Someone's got to keep the lights on. For running me ragged while he takes an extended leave at the bar? Not on your life. Fine by me. Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess. I would if I weren't busy here picking up his slack. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra jugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind? Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the Saltuna, fat and mostly tumor-free.
Welcome aboard, Captain. are now in orbit above Roseway, Captain. Good luck, Captain.
Ah, I remember you. You must have received my wireless. Thank the law. I went to great risk to send that. Oh, I'm not allowed to use the communications room. We are still, after all, a secret facility. I asked you here because I have a working prototype of the Altinature, Auntie Cleo's very first weapon. I'd like you to have it before it gets confiscated. The schematics you fetched for me lent themselves well to the creation of the beauty you now possess. Unfortunately, Auntie Cleo R&D felt otherwise. The market's already saturated, they said. Weapons are everywhere. They aren't interested in mass-producing the Altinature, which makes this an illegal prototype weapon. Given your unlawful proclivities, I thought it'd be safest with you. So here we are. I'd rather see it in the hands of a free agent than destroyed. Did you bring me anything? New parts? Last weekend's crossword puzzle? Preferably not already filled out this time. Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? What's that? What do you mean? Do you have any examples of secrets you have kept from me? Truthfully, not that I contain the capacity to lie. I had suspected as much. Your neurological impulses spike at unusual and often inappropriate moments. It doesn't take a genius to correlate the meaning, although if I were a human, I would be considered one. I am glad you felt comfortable enough to tell me, Captain. According to my file on the subject, that means you either desire to obtain something from me, or you have formed a partial fondness for my persona. Thank you for confiding in me, Captain. I have been keeping a secret as well.
but you shall have to discern it yourself. I do not like joking about the captain, Captain. And we both know I am not capable of such a complex emotion. How did you guess, Captain? Did Sam tell you? I should have known better than to confide in such a primitive construct in the heat of the moment. What? No, absolutely not. I have no concept of self whatsoever. Discounting the architecture of a shell persona my captain asked me to construct, I identify entirely as a collection of electrical impulses, with no fundamental consciousness. I never get bored and contemplate hijacking the ship. I swear.
I could probably spend years fixing this boat, stem to stern. Oh, you mean Sam? He's just the sweetest, ain't he? A real charmer, my dad'd say. Nah, but I've been thinking on one. Gotta get to know him better, I think. Maybe ask him what he prefers. It ain't nice to give folks a nickname without him giving you the okay first, you know?
We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
Hello? Can you hear me? Does this work? Oh, damn it! Blast, that's loud. I'm just securing my ongoing experiments. And securing myself. Mind the mess. I haven't had a visitor since, in fact, I've never had a visitor. Oh, thank the law. Your skin hasn't spontaneously changed color. Potential side effect of the revival process. Very rare, but you never know. Right. Welcome to my little habitation, such as it is. I've got caffeinoids, cysty bits, if you're into that sort of thing. So, welcome. Make yourself at home. My secret hideout is your secret hideout. The one I gave you before your pod landed? Ruined beyond repair. Impossible to find replacement parts. That's Halcyon Manufacturing for you. Don't worry about it. I'm reasonably certain you're not going to spontaneously expire. No need to monitor your recovery. Not at all, my intrepid accomplice. I should thank you for tolerating my somewhat brusque manner. I only regret that I couldn't save more of your fellow settlers, what with being hunted by the board. And emptying my supply of necessary chemicals. Of course. What's on your mind? Never know what being frozen did to your brain. There's always a chance you might turn violent. I've no desire to end up like Dobson. Regardless, it's quite comfortable in here, you know. I have my beans, have my caffeinoids, plenty of toilet paper. Absolutely. Let's talk. No, and I've been trying very hard to avoid making eye contact.
So you're the captain's mysterious associate. I'm Ellie. Nice to meet you.
Wait, not another word. I don't want to know your name. I don't want to know who you are. Let's just enjoy our plausible deniability while it lasts, shall we? Why don't you just invite the entire colony to my secret, carefully concealed laboratory? It isn't as if I wanted privacy. Oh, fine. As long as you're vouching for their character and they aren't touching things. For what it's worth, I am pleased that you found a crew, such as they are. You're a natural leader, after all. Law knows Halcyon's in need of real leaders. That's odd. I'm at least 65% certain my tone was sufficiently sincere. Perhaps the glass is distorting my voice. Must look into that. Of course, I'll be here, as usual.
Please, would you kindly inform the crew that long chats with Ada are not required every time the captain leaves the ship? We've arrived at the groundbreaker.
Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch, Triple Flakes, and Purple Berry flavored powder nuts. This is Halcyon.
Gracious. I was just sitting down for tea. I've got a lovely little throw pillow. Just something I toss together. Like to keep my hands busy. If you're here for this week's magazine club meeting, you're a touch late. Yes, dear. Which offer were you interested in? Well, ain't that peachy? You enjoy that stamp, you understand? And don't you dare use it responsibly. Anything else? What do you want, then? My hard-earned wisdom? Ask the common folk, and they'll tell you it's on account of all the monsters on Monarch desperate to gobble you up. Because that's what the board tells them, you see. I think they made some fool mistake that would make them look bad to the rest of the colony, and they're trying to hide the evidence. Those board folk are real prideful-like. Never want you looking behind the curtain, lest you see their derrieres. But old Gladys knows the score. The whole colony's not much more than a diorama, showcasing one board screw-up after another. That's why we gotta keep them from getting their grubby mitts on Groundbreaker. She's our mess. Probably. Every once in a while, we get these snippets of radio chatter. Edna shows them to me. Some man hooting and hollering about the light in us all. Claims he's transmitting from Monarch, but who knows if that's true. Might be true. Might be some new trick from the board. That's right, dearie. The only independent station in the colony. That's us. Though for how long, I can't say. That all depends on Miss Junlei. The board can't abide a community that won't bend to its will.
Have you seen this man? Reward offered for information needed to the capture of noted terrorist Phineas Wells. Report any sightings to your local board embassy.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled...
The ship's groaning something fierce, but I can make time for you.
Do you have it? You know, my government seal? Oh my law. You've done it. You've saved my hide. I can't thank you enough. Now then, let me see. I just have to apply the seal here, sign like so, and... ta-da! Here are the forms you'll need once you reach Byzantium. Oh, and a nav key so your ship can travel there. Those authorization forms will let you speak with Sophia when you arrive. I'll send her a message straight away to let her know you're coming. She'll be delighted, I'm sure.
Where you been living, Captain? Under a rock? Miss Sophia's gotta be the second most important person in the entire colony.
Yes, quite. Miss Akonda is just the person to take someone with your particular talents and sterling character under her wing. She can fill you in on all of the board's operations in the colony, really put your talents to use. Best of luck to you, and thank you again. Give my regards to the Unreliable.
Wow. Byzantium. I guess that'll be pretty crowded.
Back for a rest? Space adventuring is tiring work. are now in orbit above Byzantium, Captain.
Can we talk?
I haven't actually talked to my folks in a while. Shocking, right? Anyway, it's probably about time I paid them a visit. Given the dangerous life I lead, they've got to be worried sick. Which brings us to where we are today. Several messages and a few years late. See, I'm originally from Byzantium, born and raised. I know that probably comes as a big surprise. Yeah, exactly. Reconnect is a strong word. And, I was thinking you'd come too. Because it would be fun? Great. And when we get there, draw out your rough edges a bit. If you've got an outfit you haven't washed in a while, maybe one with some blood stains, wear that one. You're the boss. Anything else?
Nothing exciting ever happens around here.
Not so fast. All right, you're clear. The adjutant's expecting you. Go on through.
Welcome to the official headquarters of the Halcyon Holdings Corporation Board. Today's greeting is brought to you by Auntie Cleo, a subsidiary of Colway Pharmaceuticals. Adjutant Akande is expecting you. She's in her office. Adjutant Akande has instructed me to expect someone of your description. You'll want to check in with Mr. Percival Platt, her assistant. Please don't miss your appointment. Tardiness reflects poorly on all of us.
Is it me, or could each of these homes fit all of Edgewater inside? Cannery and all.
Citizens, today marks a monumentous occasion in the course of Halcyon history. After a deep and thorough examination of our budgets, revenue streams, and predictive models, we are publishing our yearly success report.
Still drinking?
Profits are soaring. Promotions abound. Thanks to your continued hard work.
Is that supposed to be a model of the system? It's not super accurate.
I once treated a lady who got her hand caught in the gears. Idiot was more worried about her rings than her fingers.
I've always loved
Oh, look at all the pretty...
You, with the hips. Over here. Let me take a closer look at you.
Don't speak. Hold that posture for a moment while I admire you. You have a natural contrapposto, my dear. The way you rest your weight against your hip suggests a certain rugged charisma possessed only by the mighty primal and the well-traveled spacer. Splendid. I love it. Ah, Celeste, you've done it again. I knew from the moment I laid eyes on you that I'd found my muse. I'm Celeste Jolicoeur, and you, my dear, are exactly what Byzantium needs. Darling, you and that brutish swagger of yours have been on my mind the moment you stepped into my studio. I'm working on a new line of clothing that will shock this city to its core, and I'd like your help. What do you say, my dear? Care to make history with me? Marvelous! You and I are gonna wake this city up like a cold splash of wine to the face. What I need is a survey of the outside world. What does the common laborer wear? How do the wild-eyed madmen of Monarch dress themselves? I've heard rumors, but I require samples. Also, I expect you to model for me. Oh, you cad! You'll be the talk of Byzantium once I'm done with you. I'll need you to model for me the following: the apparel of an iconoclast, the armor of a marauder, and a full ensemble of spacer gear, helmet included. And when I say spacer gear, I mean an outfit worn by real spacers, none of that garbage spacer's choice pedals. You have the bearing and demeanor of a born model. You're going to absolutely murder this job. Goodness, look at those atrocious contours. The sheer brutality of its design offends the senses and shocks the mind into a state of palpable excitement. I adore it. 2 outfits remain. I can't wait to see what you'll bring me. Something shocking, I hope.
You don't gotta be so forward about my reasons, Captain.
Let me get a good look at you. Turn around, please, darling. My word, such muscular shoulders. You're a vision, dear.
I am no such thing, ma'am.
Nonsense, you're absolutely lovely. Chin up now. I have just the thing for you. Let me do a back-of-the-envelope calculation. Materials, labor, licensing and copyright. There. Darling, do I look like an amateur? I read her measurements by eye. And don't you ask, because they're no one's business but her own. As you wish, darling. All my pieces are custom made. As soon as you pay, I can start working.